Maybe. Hey guys, so this is going to be a pretty ghetto lesson because as you can tell I've got no audio gear plugged in. The reason being is that we've just moved house 2 days ago into this place and we're in an unpacking blitz, stuff's all over the place, we're just trying to get through it the best we can. I'm actually going to show you around this place, or some of this place, after this lesson because I'm actually thinking about creating, we've got a, I don't know if you can see, can you see that? I'm going to show you later anyway. We've got a possible studio space in the garden outside because it's killer garden and it's already got like a building. I'm going to see what you guys think of it. It'd be really nice if I didn't have to, you know, drive 40 minutes into the studio every day. Like I think I'm still going to keep that studio on, the one that we use, but it'd be really nice if we had a home studio as well so I could work a little bit from home. Anyway, in this lesson we're going to be talking about walking bass mistakes, and the reason why I wanted to talk about walking bass is because in my opinion walking bass lines is just one of the best ways to learn the fingerboard, right? Whether you're into rock, jazz, metal, blues, whatever, if you want to nail down the fingerboard and be able to play up and down and you know, and do the shizzle, you're gonna have to study walking bass lines, and you will not find a bass player who is really nailing it all over the fingerboard and really knows that harmony all over the fingerboard that can't play walking bass lines. You just won't find one. So in this lesson we're covering the 6 big mistakes I see people making with walking bass lines. Oh, Joe does. Who's this?
Upsy Daisy.
Upsy Daisy?
Yeah.
I'll say hello.
Hello.
Hey mummy. So number 1 is just not getting the right feel, and predominantly this is caused by leaving space in between the notes. So for instance, if we were playing a really smooth walking, and I say smooth walking bass line because that's what you want to aim for, you notice it's not, there's no gaps in between the notes. So what you want to make sure is that each note, there's no daylight in between the notes. Okay, there's no daylight. It just moves smoothly into that next note. And another thing related to this that I see time and time again, and it's kind of related, is a big old gap between beat 4 and beat 1, moving to the next bar. So people might have the fluidity down, they might have this bit down. So they leave this ginormous gap, it's like a hesitation moving to that next bar. And that's it's caused by, our minds, we're thinking about what chord tone we move into. But really look out for that, make sure you're not. Number 2 is a misunderstanding of what walking bass lines actually are, right? I've worked with countless students and I talk about walking bass lines and they're like, yeah, I can play walking bass lines. And they actually can play boogie woogie lines. Let me just turn this up. That's not a walking bass line. A walking bass line it's not just a repeated pattern. A walking bass line in its traditional sense, when people talk about walking bass lines, is you're outlining the chord and constantly improvising. Okay? The line isn't a repeated pattern. It's not a repeated pattern. It's constantly changing. So if you listen to the guys like Ray Brown, Ron Carter, Paul Chambers, Charles Mingus, and then through to the modern day guys, Christian McBride, John Patitucci, Mark Johnson, you know, the list goes on, right? You'll hear their lines are always constantly changing, they're really fluid and they're improvised. Number 3 is using way too many ghost notes, and we're all guilty of this, right? You know, we learn how to play walking bass. Don't overuse those ghost notes. Yes, they're great because they create the swing, you know, well, they don't create the swing feel, but they definitely imply a swing feel. And they also, you know, they give it a bit of forward momentum as well with the line, but don't overuse them because it actually takes away from the swing. You want to be focusing on big, fat, wide quarter notes. Number 4 is a biggie, and it is always jumping to the root, right? And not using voice leading effectively. So a really great example of this will be from moving from a C minor to an F7, okay? A bad example of voice leading, or a great example of this jump into the root, would be to go up the arpeggio, the C minor arpeggio, and then when you move into that next bar, jump into that F. Okay? You don't want to be jumping to the root, you want to use voice leading, which is moving to the next nearest note of the chord you're going to from the note you're on, okay? So moving to the next nearest chord tone of the chord you're going into from the actual note you're on. So if I play the C minor arpeggio and I'm moving to an F7, I want to move to the third of the F7, not the F. I don't want to play this. I want to play it. Okay, voice leading. Next up is always learning walking bass lines that are ascending. So going, you know, like, okay, all going up instead of, okay, so there I just outlined 3 chords, C minor to the F dominant to the B flat major, okay? I should be able to do that descending as well. So make sure when you're creating these walking bass lines and coming up with these phrases that you're not always just going up. You should be able to come down as well, yeah? And up, and down, and up, and down. And last but not least is overemphasizing beats 2 and 4 within your walking bass line, okay? So what I mean by that is if you think about the swing feel, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we've got this real, you know, this real heavy swing on beats 2 and 4. If you overemphasize that in your walking line, it's just gonna sound weird. Don't get me wrong, you can emphasize it a little bit. Even then when I'm doing it, I almost feel like it takes away from the actual, it just doesn't feel right, you know, it should be. When you go for that more even, fat, round, wide quarter note feel, it's going to make it swing more than going rah, 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 making that, you know, overemphasizing that 2 and the 4. Anyway, before you go, I want you to check out this studio space. Come with me. Okay, so the So that's the space there we're thinking about moving, changing into a studio space. I don't know if you can see how big it is, but it's pretty big. It's actually 2 rooms at the minute. I'm thinking about knocking it through. It's pretty grimy at the minute. I'm thinking about knocking this wall through here and then into the next room, and then basically doing the entire thing up. But I think it'd be a great studio space, and it'll help me not have to drive almost an hour every single morning. But yeah, so we're living in the woods basically, which is great. I've always wanted to live in the woods. That's the place there. So if you can see that's going to be hopefully the full studio space. And what I'm wanting to do as well is actually take most of this wall out and just have it all glass. I say all glass, but bear in mind that this is my idea and not my wife's. So, you know, there might be some negotiation to do. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, guys, if you've enjoyed this lesson, make sure you check out scottsbaselessons.com. We've got, obviously, you know, a ton of cool stuff over there for you. You can also grab a free trial to our school, which is what we are. We're an online school for bass players just like you, giving you access to some of the best bass educators in the world. And it'd be great to have you on board. I should also mention as well that we co-created a course with the amazing Ed Friedland, who many of you guys will know. We co-created a walking bass boot camp with him. I think it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We open it like once a year. It's open now for the next 7 days. If you're interested in checking it out, the link is also below. So the links to Scott's Bass Lessons is below, and the link to Ed Friedland's walking bass boot camp. Right, I'm going back to unpacking. Packing, unpacking, unpacking. Take it easy, guys, bye. Whoa, 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 where are you going? If you haven't subscribed to the Scott's Bass Lessons channel yet here on YouTube, click the link, subscribe. I release 2 videos like this every single week. You can also check out our other videos over there, and if you've not checked out scottsbaselessons.com membership, check it out. You can grab your 14-day free trial over there.